Our trip was almost over before it began. We got this letter in the mail. But this wasn't the only hurdle we had to jump through to make our dreams a reality. The last few months, we've worked harder than ever to get our Land Cruiser ready. And today, we're gonna go through those problems one by one. Our first problem, biosecurity. The last time you saw this Land Cruiser on the channel, we filled it up with water. And that would be a big problem for anyone. But for us, it doubled the workload to get our car ready. Most countries have strict biosecurity laws, but some are stricter than others. Our car is on its way to Vancouver, Canada, a port renowned for its harsh biosecurity laws. And this meant our car has to be clean enough to eat off. It seemed like the dirt coming out of the Troopy was never ending. No matter how many times I would wash it, more would come. I literally spent days and days cleaning every little inch of this car until I was finally happy with the end product. Final clean. Hope it's clean enough. Vehicles entering Canada have to be free from any soils and seeds. So any clump of dirt that could hold a seed has to go. Otherwise, you're at risk of a cleaning fee costing thousands of dollars, or even refusal of entry into the country. Now, problem number 2, Troopies were never made in America, but even though America missed out on the 70 series, they did get the 80 series, which notably shares a fair few parts with our Troopy. That being said, the 1HZ motor in our Cruiser is very uncommon over there, so all maintenance I can do to the engine before it leaves, the better. I headed into, in my opinion, the best workshop in Hobart, Eurotech Automotive, to work on the car. On the top of my to-do list was the timing belt. Not something that would be easy to come by 15,000 kilometers from here, but something my mate Josh assured me he could do with his eyes closed. I replaced a few other things, like radiator hoses and drive belts, but the biggest job we had on the list was the clutch. Now originally, the plan was to turbo the car before it left, and I still might when it's over there. Now, I've only had this car for about 9 months, so I had no idea the state of the clutch in it. So my judgment was to replace this bad boy while I could. We've opted for the Extreme Outback Series clutch from Australian Clutch Services, and they have assured me it's going to hold up to all the boggings this car will get. But most importantly, the big tyres and all the weight this car has on it too. Now, changing over the clutch wasn't incredibly hard, but that's because we were using the right gear, and many hands make light work.
I'll just hold these out of the way. That's my job.
I did have to have the flywheel machine, which looked epic, even though no one will ever see it. And with a lot of help, this car was as ready as it could be to travel overseas. Now, we did do an oil change on it as well at home, and put some winter grade oil in it, which Lil did the honours, and those videos are on our Facebook and Instagram pages. If you want to laugh, you should go check them out. So problem 3, our car didn't fit in a shipping container. A normal 20-foot shipping container is about 6 meters long, 2.4 meters wide, and almost 2.6 meters high. So technically the car would fit, but the door opening of a shipping container is 2.3 meters wide by 2280 high. Now the width we had down pat, but the height we didn't. As our car normally sat, it was very, very close to 2.4 meters. So it wasn't going to go through the door. Now, recently in my adventures, I changed our solar panels from 2 on the back to still 2 on the back and 1 in the middle. So we now had 3 150 watt iTech World solar panels. But the biggest thing that I did was lower them down so that they sat flat on the roof and gave us a little bit more height. But it still wasn't enough. I ended up having to remove the panels. I always knew I was going to do this, so I installed them really simply and made them easy to remove and plug back in when I got over there. I then stacked all the panels in the back of the car and made sure they'd be safe when they were shipped over in the container. So when I get there, I'm gonna have to put them back on. But even removing the panels is still not enough. I had to make sure that I let the tires down to about 15 psi so that the car could get into the container. And at that point, the car should only fit through the door by about 30 or 40 mil. Probably this much. That's not much. I'm sorry if this camera's shaking a bit, but if you want to see this on the next video, make sure you subscribe. Now, before we get into problem 4, I promise you that we're going to get into this defect notice. But that's just the icing on the cake. There have been so many problems that I've had to deal with. Like this. You can't ship lithium batteries in a container overseas. So batteries like this, not just batteries like this, but any lithium battery. This lithium battery. This one is the battery out of our troopy, and it's here in Tasmania with me. It's not with the troopy. But it's not just any lithium batteries. Even ones like this, a little drone battery, this is lithium. A GoPro battery, that's lithium. Sorry, it's not GoPro, it's a DJI one. Portable power bank, we can't ship them. And it's not because they're illegal, it's because they're dangerous. Lithium batteries can short circuit, overheat, start fires, especially if they're damaged or they're old or exposed to temperature changes. And inside a sealed container, a lithium battery fire is pretty much unstoppable. Water will not put it out and the heat can spread to everything else around it. So because of that, shipping lines treat lithium batteries as dangerous goods. Even your drill batteries, these are considered a serious risk when you're transporting your car on the high seas. Can you imagine if there was a fire on your shipping container, if your container was underneath hundreds of other shipping containers in the middle of the sea? It'll put the boat and the crew and even rescuers at risk. It's just not safe. So before the troopy went in the container, everything came out. The house battery, my drill batteries, my camera batteries, everything that was lithium had to be removed from the car. And that is a massive thing that I didn't know before embarking on this journey. This is gonna cost me thousands of extra dollars that I don't need to spend, but I was too far into it already to go back. Now here's the big one. I don't live anywhere near an international port, and I need to get the car there. But I thought I'd answer this question as well, which I'm guessing most of you guys don't know. How does a car get overseas? And to answer that, there's a few different ways, but two main ways you can get a car overseas. So there's the way that I'm going, which is container shipping, or there's another one called Ro-Ro, or roll on, roll off. So Ro-Ro is when your car is driven onto a ship, parked inside, and then driven off at the other end. It's usually cheaper and faster, but you can't leave anything inside the car. No valuables, nothing inside any of it. You can't take any of your gear with you. And also, your vehicle is handled by port workers. So container shipping is when your vehicle is driven inside a shipping container and sealed shut and then delivered that way. It's definitely more expensive, but it's more secure and you can take stuff with you. You can put whatever you want inside the car and the container. So Ro-Ro is a great idea for standard cars and shorter routes. But for your pride and joy, a highly modified car and something that you want to bring all your gear inside with you, container shipping is just worth the money. So the decision really just comes down to cost and really how much control you want over your car and how safe you want it to be. But now back to my dilemma. I had to deliver our car from here in Hobart to the port in Melbourne. And this is how I did it. All right, it is one of the biggest days of my life and one of the biggest days of this car's life. The journey begins here and it ends 13,500 kilometers away in Vancouver. Well, I mean, you could also argue that that's where the journey begins. I'm about to drive the car from home here in Tasmania to Melbourne to the port to get loaded into a shipping container. So this is the last time I'll see it in my yard. Let's go. There we go. She always starts, doesn't it? Always starts. Now I've got a heap of things all loaded up. There's no solar panels on the roof, as you can see. They are tucked away in the back here so that the car will be low enough to fit in the shipping container. We've got the black rings on the car, so you guys have seen these on the channel before. They're not in beadlock yet because it's still not legal to run these in Australia, but in Vancouver, USA, we can run them as beadlocks. So we'll have to get them changed over when they're there. The car is insanely clean underneath. I've been under here for hours, not hours, days, making this thing perfectly clean because there cannot be anything on this car. We got a fair bit of gear in there, fair bit of camping gear, pretty much like no clothes or anything, but just like our chairs, all that kind of stuff are in there. I've got my backpack and my Ugg boots for the boat tonight and the flight home. There's the solar panels in there. All right, let's go. It's about a 3.5 hour drive from Hobart to Devonport, where we will board the Spirit of Tasmania, headed for Geelong. We just made it to the line, waiting, and I've just come back here for a lie down. 30 minutes to wait in the line, so that's why you have a troopy. Alrighty, here we go. Last time in Tasmania, the troopy's wheels are about to go off Tasmanian land, probably forever. Oh, we're off. Oh, we're on the water. We are entering the bows of the ship. I'm not usually on this deck because I've usually got Hazel. This is the unventilated deck, so the stowaways can't live on here. That's it, there's no turning back now. First leg of the journey completed. Oh, we're going right down. I didn't know we could go down here. Jeez, lucky the brakes work. 2.92 meters, so I can get down in here. That's me. Bye, troopy. The journey on the Spirit takes about 12 hours and isn't too bad if I'm being honest. Nice. And that there is the new Spirit, sitting, waiting to be used. Let me tell you, the boat I'm on was very tired. Tasmanians are definitely ready for the new boats. Alrighty, people. It's morning time. Just made it down to the car. Didn't sleep too well last night, but that's alright. That's what happens when you get the recliners. I'm ready. We've got about a 50-minute drive away from, I don't even know where we're going, to be honest, whatever this place is. I need to pack this stuff away. So this is brake stuff that I got from Bendix, like some hard lines and heavy duty pads and stuff, but they just didn't come in time to get put on the car. I'm going to send them in a box in the back of the car, and then when the car gets overseas, then I can change them over then. Well, that's the plan anyway. I mean, what's the point of leaving them here? Because I won't have the car. They've got to go in. Yesterday I picked up these bad boys from Bunnings, dehumidifiers, I guess you would call them. So I think you just rip the top off these and then leave them in here, and then they just absorb all the moisture, so we don't get mold in here. Oh, also, here we go, guys. Look at this new little thing that I got here. This is off Temu, and so are these gear knobs. Can't show you anything else though because we didn't have a second battery, so nothing in the back to work. Here we go. Welcome to Geelong. We're on the ground, fellas. Alrighty, guys, we made it to the ports. Look at us go. Here it is. Alright, guys, I'm here in Melbourne, down near the ports. You can see all the container cranes and stuff up there. It is time to send the old girl away. Sad day. I actually had a few people drive past me and just give me the thumbs up like this. Car must be looking really good at the moment. Got a few scratches on it from climbies, which is sad, but that's just what happens when it's an off-road rig. I really hope this doesn't fall off a container. I really hope this isn't the last footage we ever get of this. Oh, sorry. I almost just got run over by a bike. Sorry. I hope the next time we see it is in snowy Vancouver, cold Vancouver as well. The one thing I need to do is, I had this tyre repair kit sitting around and it needs to be listed, and I don't know where it's supposed to go. So I'm just gonna put it in this cupboard with our brake pads and everything else. I'm sure that everything can sit in there like that. I hope these things are going to be just vibrating on that ship for a month, aren't they? They should be okay. I hope they're okay. Bye, back of the troopy. Bye, Lil Jake number plate. Bye, ATI big boy tyre. Alrighty guys, this is the spot. It's called Container Fumigation Services. Bit of an odd spot, yeah. There's a lot of older cars here. Yeah, wow. This is just where my brokers sent me, so this is where I'm going.
The last time she was 3:15, so
3:15, half past three.
Alright guys, so I just got here to drop the car off, and turns out the car's not leaving for like another 3 weeks. So apparently it's just gonna sit in this yard here for 3 weeks, which I didn't know. My shipping agent said that he knew, which would have been great to tell me, because then I could have kept the car for another however long, you know, at least another week or so, and not had to bring it over and it'd be such a rush, which would have been nice to know. But that's fine. So it's now going to sit outside, so all the cleaning that I've done probably doesn't really matter. So it's probably going to sit outside and look like these Priuses here. I don't know why they're there. And yeah, it is what it is, I guess. I hope they take good care of it. Guys, I'm actually really stressed about leaving the car here. Very stressed. This looks like it though. All right, now if anything's missing, you guys let me know. Good luck, all my stuff. It's probably not gonna be here when I come back. Guys, the whole reason of getting it shipped in a container was so that people from the port didn't drive it around, and it wasn't just left sitting out somewhere where anyone could get to it without being unlocked. So I paid extra money for that. Here she goes, guys. This is the last time you'll see her. Off to the warehouse. There she goes with some flat tires. What a darling. I hope that's not the last time I ever see it. Bye, Troopy. I love you and miss you. Alrighty, so it's time to talk about this letter that I got in the mail. Now, this is a call-in notice for a defective vehicle. And I didn't receive this letter until after the car was gone, until it was already in the shipping yard. This letter I have here is the final notice. Now, if you've been following the channel along, you might notice that I've moved, and I've changed my address recently. So the first letter was probably mixed up and sent to my old address, so I didn't receive it. Now, this letter basically says that I need to bring the vehicle to an approved inspection station and get it pit passed realistically. Otherwise, the vehicle registration will be cancelled. Now, this is the part that's going to ruin our trip. We need the Troopy to be registered while we're travelling overseas. When it arrives in the country we send it to, it remains on Tasmanian registration, and we fill out what is basically a temporary vehicle import. What that means is that you can drive the vehicle around for a limited amount of time in a country on its origin registration. So that means that I miss out on import tax. I don't have to go and get the car registered there, which I don't even know is possible for a tourist to have a vehicle registered in another country, any country. I mean, surely some countries, but I've got no idea if we can do it where we're going. I don't have an address there that I could register it to. I don't know if you would need a license in the country to be able to do it. And then an even bigger thing is that when we bring the car back to Australia, technically it's been imported into one country. So that means that it's been exported from Australia. And then I would need to import it back into Australia, meaning I would have to pay tax on it again. This whole dilemma could cost me a ridiculous amount of money. Crazy amount of money, a crazy amount of time, and a huge amount of stress that I don't need. And you're probably wondering how I got this letter and how I didn't realize I got it. Now, I really didn't want to talk about this because I don't want more people to know about this, but it's pretty common knowledge. So basically, in Tasmania, and I'm pretty certain that Tasmania is the only state that does this, there is an online form where you can call in a defective vehicle. So anyone can call in a defective vehicle. You can fill out this form, put the registration number in, write whatever the flip you want, and then send it in to Transport Tasmania. And then the owner of that vehicle will more than likely get one of these. So anyone could have reported this. Now, I've never been pulled over in the Troopy, and the Troopy, to be honest, doesn't really get driven except for the trips. It did a 5 or 6 day trip up the West Coast a couple of months ago. And really, apart from that, it sort of just sits in my driveway. I drive the Hilux and the Prado around. I don't get around in the Troopy. It's too important to me to just daily drive, and to be honest, most of the time it's pulled apart. So this letter, I'm not saying it has, but it definitely could have come from anyone. Anyone online could just submit a form and put this in to anyone. So for example, I don't want to give people ideas, but you could do this with your next door neighbor's Toyota Corolla. You could send in a couple of emails saying, hey, I think they've got a defective vehicle. And then that person will have to take their vehicle to an approved inspection station and have it pit passed. And even if their car might be perfect, they still have to pay to have it passed. They still have to go through all these steps, time out of their days to take their car in, the stress, all this kind of stuff. And for example, someone like me who is traveling a lot, I could get these sent to my house and miss these letters and have my vehicle registration cancelled like it almost did, and be in a crash with an unregistered vehicle without myself knowing and end up in a lot of trouble. Now, I'm not saying that this system is not good. It's great. Vehicles that are unsafe should not be on the road, 100%. But the person down the road doesn't know that you've spent $1,000 in engineering your car. They don't see the mod plate that's underneath your bonnet. They wouldn't have to know anything about your car. They could just be annoyed at you and do this to you. But as we all know, government agencies and law enforcement and all those kind of people they're always underfunded. And something like this online form that can help them, bring justice is definitely a good idea. I'm not saying for this to be stopped, but I'm just saying that this is an opportunity for people to do bad things to each other. Now, on the online website, it specifically states that you will be anonymous. And that's probably the one thing that I would disagree on with this form. You shouldn't be anonymous. You should be able to see that it's your neighbor calling you in. It might keep people a bit more honest. So Lil and I, stuck between a rock and a hard place, had no idea what we were going to do. On top of all the other problems I told you, and the money that we've spent to try and get this car overseas and the organization, I will do another video on how much it costs once the car's over there and everything's paid for. I'll break it all down for you. So there will be another video probably on specifically how to ship your car overseas, because for me, this was ridiculously hard to figure out. A lot harder than it should be. It seems like people that have done it before just feel like, oh, it's so easy to ship your car overseas, because they just don't think anything of it. But for me, there was so many hidden little rules and so many mistakes to be made to figure out actually how to, send the car over. So subscribe if you want to see that video. But you probably want to know how I dealt with this. So once I got this notice, I contacted Vehicle Call-In straight away to try and resolve the issue. And I can say that the people that work there were amazing. They must deal with crap all the time. But Lil and I explained to them that we didn't have the car and the car is being sent overseas. I really hope that they will believe us, because it's sort of like a dog ate my homework kind of thing. It sounds quite unbelievable that, sorry, I couldn't bring my car into the inspection station because it's on a ship in the middle of the ocean. We have worked things out with them, which is fantastic. And it's looking like the Troopy will still be on Tasmanian registration when it is overseas, which is absolutely killer. I'm so excited to drive that car overseas on Tasmanian plates. Little side note, I always wanted to get custom plates until I planned on taking the car overseas. And then I think it's almost cooler for us to run Tasmanian plates overseas. I don't know. I feel like if I was abroad and then I walked around a corner and saw a car with Australian plates on it, I would think that it was crazy. So I'm hoping to wow some people. But anyway, guys, I hope you found this video interesting. Make sure to give it a like and a hype, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.